Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for another edition of Kenzie's Krimes, a deep dive into a local drama murder mystery. And Kenzie takes us on a journey. Go ahead, Kenzie. Take us on that journey.
Shaun Gayle, I'm sure that name rings some bells. He was a Chicago Bear for 11 years, part of the 85 Super Bowl win, and also in the Shuffling Crew.
We are the Bears, Shuffling Crew. I'm not going to do the whole thing.
Perfect. You nailed it. Now, Rhoni Reuter was his girlfriend. Truly a stunning woman inside and out. She worked in the fashion industry. She was said to be just so kind. She would light up a room, could win anyone over. And one of those people that when you talk to him, your day got better. She just brought a lot of positivity to the world. And you can just tell when you see photos of her, she looks like the most bubbly person. So the two met at Bears training camp near Ronnie's hometown in Wisconsin. And they dated for 18 years. Crazy.
Usually those training camp dates probably don't last that long.
I had a few of them, and they did not. So I get it right. And that'll end there. They had a blast traveling the world and really living their best life. Things shifted a little when Rhoni got pregnant at 41 years old by Shaun Gayle, just to clarify.
You are the father.
Yes. She was super excited to become a mom, and this to her was almost like a little miracle baby. Like, this is supposed to be my life. I wasn't even trying for it. I'm 41, and she really took it in stride. She even wore one of those pearl medic alert bracelets, letting people know if anything happens to her to save the baby. They were going to have a baby girl named Skylar, and initially, Shaun Gayle did not share the same excitement, okay? A little hesitant, and I get it. It's a huge life change. Anyone who's naive and is like, oh, this is all blossoms and not difficult. So I understand if you weren't ready for it, it can be a shock, but a lot of his friends and family were like, he really warmed up to the idea over time. He even had a lot of those parenting and newborn books. We don't know if he read them, right? That's just what I'm saying, not what his family said, because we've all seen Knocked Up where they were just in his apartment, but he...
I gotta admit, I missed out on some of the books that I bought before Harper was born.
Oh, you did? That's crazy.
I know.
Oh, wow. I can't believe you didn't read those.
Shocking development, I'm sure.
But the intent was there. Started to warm up to it. They were together for that long and not married and not living together. That's kind of crazy. She must be the most chill woman on the planet. The morning of October 4th, 2007, Rhoni was just a few weeks away from delivering, like a little over a month. She was actually headed off to work that morning. She opened the door and she was met with a loaded gun. The neighbor heard immediately and placed a 911 call.
Deerfield Police. I heard a woman screaming and then a pop, pop, and it went totally silent. I called my other neighbor upstairs, and she is pregnant, and she does not answer.
Deerfield Police responded to the call immediately. Arriving to her home, the door was left ajar, and they found Rhoni dead on her kitchen floor. Unfortunately, both of the lives were lost, her and her unborn daughter, Skylar. What was so eerie about this case, besides the very obvious, was the gunshot seemed to be aimed towards the stomach, as if a personal attack against the unborn child. And the final bullet was a shot to the back of Rhoni's head. The only true evidence left behind was some unspent shell casing. A neighbor claimed that they saw a man running from the scene. They were able to describe him as a short, thin, black, and curly black-haired man. And another witness claimed they saw a black vehicle speeding away. A reporter was the one who contacted Shaun Gayle, saying that there was a pregnant woman in Deerfield that had been shot because the name was not released to the public yet. Shaun called the police to see if it was Rhoni.
Listen, I've been getting calls from the media. This is Shaun Gayle. Was it Rhoni Reuter? Is she okay?
Yes, it was Rhoni, and no, she's not.
She's dead? I gotta call her parents. Who would do this?
Despite his reaction, Shaun was the number one person of interest. And I'm going to pause right here because this takes so many turns. This is not open and shut. And there are some details in here and recordings from the person that are going to blow your mind, because I knew about this case, but I didn't know this about this case.
When we come back, the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes right here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion of Kenzie's Crimes. If you want to catch us up quickly, Kenzie, to get us up to speed.
Yeah, so Shaun Gayle was with Rhoni Reuter for 18 years. They dated, but they did not live together. They weren't married, but they were very public about their relationship. She became pregnant unplanned at the age of 41 with Shaun Gayle's child. He was a little tentative, but then he got into it. Okay, there's a shock of the news. She was super excited. And about a month before she delivered the child, she was found shot to death in her apartment. The first suspect, number one, unfortunately, is Shaun. He did have an alibi for the time of the crime because initially you have to go into defense mode. You're getting questioned. He was getting his hair cut in North Chicago. However, it was possible for him to have committed the crime and still made it to the barbershop in time for a haircut. Then they found a letter in Ronnie's purse. It was in broken English, and there were a lot of names listed, 17 to be exact. And it ended up being a list of women Shaun was sleeping with. Along with their names were their phone number. Not good. And that was in Ronnie's purse, okay? Shaun told detectives Rhoni knew he was seeing other women and she was fine with it. Ronnie's friends said that was not true. And then there, during a lot of things I read, it was like he was kind of in an open relationship and she wasn't. And I'm like, well, that's cheating. It's either an open relationship or it's not. But
yeah,
okay.
There's a pretty fine line there.
Yeah, the one side openness usually. I mean, there's some women out there who do that. And I will say the fact that she was willing to be with him for 18 years without marriage and living together, maybe she was down with that kind of stuff. Shaun went to the police and gave them his number one suspect. Monica Kraska was a fitness model and personal trainer, a woman he had been seeing and sleeping with for over a few years now, and it had recently ended badly. Monica thought the relationship was monogamous. She peered through Shaun's window one night and saw him with another woman. She broke the window and became violent. She had sent him threatening messages, and he believed she had hacked his email because I guess he had some funky stuff going on with his computer. He was so scared of her, days before the murder, he had filed for a restraining order against her. And he thought that maybe she left the letter for Rhoni with all the names on it because she was a Polish immigrant and the letter was kind of in broken English. So he was thinking maybe this is her. Monica denied being part of the crime, and she said she was with a client at the exact time of the murder, which completely checked out. Weeks after Ronnie's murder, a search warrant finally approved for Shaun's home, which included his laptop. Upon searching his laptop, they found out Shaun had a cyber stalker. Someone had gotten into everything and been tracking his every move for almost 2 years. Marnie Yang was a female on the list, number 15 to be exact, that was in Ronnie's purse. A cop who had slept with her told officers they needed to pay attention to her. Apparently, he had broken things off with her and she harassed him, threatened his family, and tried to blackmail him. His entire family decided to move out of the state because of how fearful they became. She was a mom of 3, this Marnie Yang on the list of women Shaun had been sleeping with. She was a mom of 3. She dabbled in real estate, she was a fitness model, and was apparently obsessed with sex. She loved bragging about sleeping with Shaun Gayle. She was obsessed with physically sleeping with cops, and she had gotten lessons from her sexual partners on how to shoot a gun and how to cover up crimes.
Good Lord.
Not the best pillow talk to do.
In her case, maybe, yeah.
Let's gossip about something else. Anybody in that field? Fun fact, once your garbage is garbage and you completely throw it out, it is fair game for police. So the police, unbeknownst to her, kept taking her garbage and going through it. She had a receipt in the garbage for a book on how to build a disposable silencer. They also found a receipt for Home Depot. The items listed in the book on how to make a silencer were the ones then purchased at Home Depot. She also had purchased a bucket and quick drying cement the day after Rhoni was murdered. She did have an alibi at the time of the murder. She said her car was broken down. She had called another officer she was sleeping with to come help with her car, and she was stuck in the home. And then she shared with police that she actually felt like someone had been stalking her because a car had been driving around her house. They ended up being able to find video footage of the dark car that was seen Well, it went back to a car rental. Guess who had recently rented a car?
Marnie
Yang.
Yep.
The exact one seen at the crime was rented by Marnie Yang. They then went to interview the car rental dealership about that car, and they remembered her because initially they dropped off a blue car, and she said no, and that she needed a black plain car, and they did deliver a different one. However, the car wasn't delivered to her address. It was delivered to somebody named Chrissy Passion's address. Chrissy was Marnie Yang's best friend. The mileage tracked perfectly from the rental car to Chrissy's, from Chrissy's to the crime scene, and back to the rental car was the exact mileage that had happened.
No stopping at Portillo's for a hot
There
dog.
was
in
no
between.
extra errands, Ron.
Right here to here. Got it.
Now, another interesting thing about Marnie is that she'd been the one stalking Shaun Gayle. Officers believe she most likely copied his hard drive off the computer one night. Something even more twisted, the night before Ronnie was killed, Marnie was having a wild sexual night with Shaun.
Oh, boy.
She had paid for detailed background searches on all the other women in his life because she had hacked into his laptop. And she literally paid for background searches. She owned several guns, including one that was a match to the one at the crime scene, the 9mm, but she said that one had recently been stolen. Cops were able to tap Chrissy Passion's phone because she was a telemarketer. Now, this is the one who's best friends with Marnie.
I don't remember where the hell I was, Monty.
Wait, what are you talking about? When?
The night before that stupid murder.
Relax, will you?
Well, yes, I'm flipping out.
Chrissy then decided she was going to cooperate with officers and set her friend up. They met at a Denny's in hopes to hear Marnie say where the murder weapon is. They needed that final piece.
So, of course, I'm going to finally ask the question I told you I never ever wanted to know. When you hid the gun, did you hide it real well?
It's gone.
I really did not believe you would do it.
I didn't believe I would either.
She had been talking about murdering Ronnie for months. Before you think the neighbor, by the way, is racist who said that they saw somebody black running away, because I thought, like, why would they say that if it was this woman? Marnie put black makeup on, like basically blackface, and wore an afro wig. So the very slender, small, black afro wig, that was correct. Okay,
wow.
So the description the person gave was incredibly accurate. The best friend, Christy, led officers to where Marnie had buried something almost a year to the date of the murder. So Chrissy drove Marnie around after the murder, and she was disposing of things in different places, and she remembered her burying something and she didn't know what it was. Do you know what they found that she had buried in a random plot of land?
I guess it would be the gun?
No. Marnie's medic alert pregnancy bracelet that she always wore to say to please save Skylar. She took that off and threw it away, which is so twisted and sick. Marnie was sentenced to life in prison, and to this day, she is still proclaiming her innocence and requesting new trials as recently as 2024. Shaun Gayle says he's haunted with guilt forever.
If I had given her the dating relationship that she wanted, this tragedy may not have happened.
Kenzie's Crimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate away team.
I'm not guilty. Q101.
Wow, it is unbelievable, iconic drama and story in Kenzie's Crimes today. It'll all be on the podcast if you missed any portion of it or you want to hear it again. The Brian and Kenzie podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. Coming up, we'll give you that key word one more time. It's valid for 20 minutes for the Minnesota Yacht Club Music Festival and Riot Fest tickets. Two incredible experiences of music and fun. So 10 minutes away, actually less than that, about 6 minutes, we'll give you that key word.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning, and Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.